Well, after multiple delays, multiple things getting in the way, multiple attempts to make this work and it just doesn't, here's a throwback video, which are usually exclusively Thursdays, on a Saturday. Let's jump right into it and talk about one of my favorite films of all time, The Iron Giant. So, if you haven't been here for the throwback videos in the past, these are completely spoiler open. So it's kind of me talking about a film and different moments in it that hit hard for me. And yeah, if you haven't seen The Iron Giant, you should really watch it. Quick little summary of it in case you haven't. It follows a robot that crash lands on Earth in the Cold War and is raised by a young boy in the woods because he lost his memory. And it follows all the tensions that were around the Cold War, whether it be politically or morally, along with being this sort of heartfelt robot, young boy, growing up experience. It has a lot of heart, it's very emotional, and I love all the beats it goes through and all of the comedic moments, along with the powerful ones as well. So yeah, with that being said, let's jump right into it. The opening of this film does a great job of setting Cold War tension. Something about Sputnik flying over the Earth with the beep, 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 and the crashing waves and thunderstorms when the fisherman finds the Iron Giant. Something about that feels perfect. It feels like it sets up the tension that the average person would be experiencing at this time. A wartime period that most of us have probably only heard through history books, and our parents have just sort of referenced or we've seen in movies. This film does a great job of sort of giving the audience tension so that they can relate to what characters are going through. You don't know who the Iron Giant is, you just know that your enemy's out there, like Sputnik flies around in the clouds. And how are we going to relate to this? How are we going to deal with it? That sort of energy is immediately put on the table, and it helps push this film forward. We're then introduced to Hogarth and his mom, and Dean the artist, and then we slowly get to go deeper and deeper into Hogarth's character and how his character relates to the Iron Giant. Hogarth being the kid of a single mother, he's constantly getting into trouble, constantly wanting to explore and find himself within the world. He's kind of an outcast and wants to fit in, and he needs something that makes him feel unique. And he finds that when one day he thinks aliens have invaded his hometown and instead finds the Iron Giant, who I guess technically is an alien, munching on the power station. I love this scene because the way the Iron Giant sort of walks up from behind Hogarth, it's such a good shot. There's something about his shadow and the eyes. He feels so intimidating and scary in a way. When I was a kid, I remember being really nervous when I first saw the Giant, which is then immediately contrasted later on in the film when we see how childlike he is and when he's lost his memory and where he's fallen into place. I also want to mention I am reviewing the theatrical release or original. I'm not reviewing the director's cut that shows Mars and has those scenes. I'm not really a big fan of those. I think they kind of change the tone of the film a bit, and it ruins the mystery of where the Giant is from. I think that the mystery is what makes it interesting. So yeah, I do want to actually preface that since it just crossed my mind. We then get introduced to who could be one of the best and, well, frankly, modernly relevant members of the cast, which is Kent Mansley, a traditional government worker who is here to investigate, secret government stuff, if you could say, basically, which is pretty much he's been sent to investigate the Giant because they believe it's a weapon from the Soviets. Kent is very easily hateable. He's sort of a traditional, nosy government worker who is kind of sleazy and puts on a fake mask to impress people, but Hogarth, being a kid, can see right through that, and he knows that something is up. And so now we have this sort of back and forth of Kent searching for the Giant and Hogarth attempting to hide him in every way, because Hogarth realizes how innocent the Giant is. And the Giant's innocence, I think, represents the idea of human innocence as well. A big theme throughout this movie is life and who you are as a person. That's why it has sequences that come off as, very heavy-handed, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. It's anti-gun messaging at times, and it's anti-war messaging. Isn't intentionally political, although I definitely think it's important, as it should be to be political with a theme like the Cold War, but it's more so to get the audience thinking about what it means to be human, what it means to be a child, and what it means to live through hard times. The Iron Giant has a whimsical, childlike wonder to it, but it also has a gripping, intense, real humanity to it as well, that I think older audiences end up relating to. Ending sequences filled with action, like when the Jets chase down the Giant while he's holding Hogarth. I know I'm jumping kind of far ahead with that, but the whole second half of this film feels like this culmination of you're watching this childlike movie and then you go, oh, this is how this would happen. The real world does catch up to you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Eventually, the innocent becomes uninnocent. And this film does a beautiful job of portraying you have to hold on to that. You have to choose who you want to be. You can let the world push you down. You can become a weapon, as we see with the Giant. He was designed to be a weapon. He was designed to be sent here to hurt us by the Martians, the people from outer space. But he can choose to be more than that. He can choose to be Superman and be the hero. That's what makes this movie so beautiful to me. As you go through this plot, as you watch the back and forths, as you see Hogarth try and hide the giant but eventually fail, and Mansley, chloroform Hogarth in that one sequence, and you just watch this beautiful little town, this beautiful little life that everyone's living in this little rural American town fall to pieces because of the will of this sort of cold world around them. And the Iron Giant says, "You are who you choose to be." It's one of my favorite sentiments in a movie, and it's why I hold this film in such great regard. Too many people these days fall into a how would I say it? A sort of rhythm of, this is just who I am, this is how I'm going to be, but that's just not true. You can fight past that. You don't have to fall into that rhythm. You can be whoever you want to. Whatever you feel on the inside, it can be who you are. You can shape yourself. You're never locked into place. The film tells you to defy all odds, to give to the world around you, and to even sacrifice for those you care about. Like Hogarth sacrifices, for the giant and sort of puts himself on the line and would do anything for him, and how his mom sacrifices for him and works so many jobs to make sure he can live a good life. We see the giant do the same when he sacrifices himself at the end. Sacrifice gives people the opportunity to become themselves, and it allows people to realize how beautiful their life really is. Without the giant's sacrifice, everyone in that town would have died, and they wouldn't get to be who they choose to be. People sacrifice all the time. We sacrifice for loved ones, and sacrifice is a beautiful thing, not because it's so noble, but because it gives people the chance to keep living and to become who they really need to be. This movie encapsulates that emotion so well, and I think it's why I get so emotional when I watch it, is because it represents this human connection of everything matters, every life matters, and we have to strive to protect that in every way, shape, and form, because innocence is a beautiful thing, and we can't let the world crush that around us. Overall, as I go back to this film, and in the series of, well, not that many so far, different games and stuff I've gone to the throwbacks with, I find the Iron Giant stands up the hardest out of everything I've been looking into. I find myself still just as enamored with it as I did as a kid. There isn't any moment that feels different, or any joke that doesn't land as well. It's still exactly the way I remember it. A masterpiece. And that's why I absolutely love it, and it is totally worthy of your time, and it is totally worthy of the status that everybody gives it. But how do you feel about the Iron Giant? Let me know in the comments below. So much love to everybody. I've really been enjoying doing these throwback videos, and people seem to like them. Oh, I'm dying. Again, thank you all so much for your time. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It means the world to me, and it really, really helps the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next throwback. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye!